Hey, good afternoon, Justice Warriors. I've missed you so much. I can't even tell you. It's been like 3 days. I know I've been doing community posts, but I really love making videos for you guys. And I love that there's so many of you that love them. And for those of you who don't love them, it's okay if you don't watch. I don't mind. So, but it is good to challenge yourself and to watch things that are not so agreeable, right? You don't want to be in an echo chamber. I know I don't. I watch plenty of channels that I don't necessarily agree with, but I think that they're smart people and I like to hear what they have to say. So I am going to start out with my disclaimer and my please hit your thumbs up button. Here you go. Share, subscribe, ring your notification bell if you please. Everything I say is simply my opinion. It's simply for the sake of conversation. I always hope to start a discussion and learn something and be educational. And I invite you to join me in this quest and query. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys more than I can articulate. So, it's been 3 days since I've made a video. There's been so much going on. As we all know, The Handmaid's Tale has reared its ugly head once again. And although I love Margaret Atwood and I love her ideas, her books are absolutely painful to read. So I wouldn't recommend them for the faint of heart. But if you can stomach it, I would recommend them for anyone over the age of maybe 18. So um yeah, they're pretty grisly. And I think it's surprising to her that she's become super famous over the years because it's sort of like Nirvana. Like Nirvana never expected to be mainstream, they were alternative. And when they became mainstream, it kind of gave them an identity crisis, so to speak. And I think the same thing for Margaret Atwood, having had the pleasure and the opportunity to meet her, to speak with her one on one, to shake her hand, to listen to her motivational public speaking. She's a phenomenal individual. And I definitely recommend for anybody who doesn't know Margaret Atwood and her work to look into it. More so her as a person than her work, because like I said, her work is freaking twisted, straight up. So let's get on with it. Why is that Handmaid's Tale showing up in the Idaho 4 case? We all know that it was in Kylie Rodney's case from the beginning to the end, in the middle, and afterwards. So is there something to that, or is it a mere coincidence that now all of a sudden these photos or videos or both of allegedly the criminal defendant at an event where Margaret Atwood was speaking, allegedly? I'm still not convinced. I know artificial intelligence can pretty much do anything, but let's just say that it's true and accurate, that the photographs and the videotape are 100% authentic. I don't know that that tells us anything other than that all of a sudden this information and these images are being released. And why? We're 6 months into this case from the point of arrest. Let's see, it is June 13th. It's Tuesday. It's just about 2 o'clock as I'm recording this. So we all know that it happened exactly 7 months ago, if I'm doing my math right. November might be 8 months. And then Koberger wasn't arrested until December 30th. And so here we are about 6 months into the year. And so this whole 6 months has been literally a fishing expedition for the prosecution to dig up any and all information that they can, to put out any images that they want to. We haven't seen Koberger hanging out, doing other things other than like looking creepy and once in a while looking a little less creepy. I mean, seriously, these pictures of him with Margaret Atwood, whether they're real or not real, they're some of the best pictures we've ever seen of him, for sure, as are the images from this past Friday in court where he actually got to wear civilian clothing. And yeah, he cleaned up great. I have a lot of hope that he could actually get a fair trial, even with all this shenanigans up until this point in time. I have a lot of faith in Judge. I really do. I have a lot of faith in Ann Taylor, surprisingly. I didn't expect to. I feel like I have a lot of faith in Shannon Gray. Not so much, I'm not feeling it for the prosecution, but it's all about justice. Justice for the victims, justice for their families. Brian Koberger was allegedly part of Psi Beta fraternity in Pennsylvania when he was at DeSales University. And I looked into it on Google. Google told me that Psi Beta is psychology. It's not like your typical fraternity, but it's for psychology majors, but it's still part of the Greek system. And I'm just wondering, is Koberger still affiliated with that? For the most part, it's my understanding that once you're affiliated with a fraternity or a sorority, you're kind of married to it for life. And I know that they have the Greek system, of course, at Wazoo. So was he still a part of it there? I'm just going to be straight with you guys. Just the facts, ma'am. I really get the feeling that this case has more to do with sex and drugs than anybody wants to admit. I remember very distinctly December 20th, I had some troll drop into one of my lives and say, all the experts know it's an incel. December 20th, give or take a day. For those of you that have been watching my channel for a while, I've tried to find that video and I deleted his comment in my live chat, but there's still the part where I'm kind of interacting with you guys and quasi interacting with him and saying, you know what, I'm not going to block you. I was going to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give you a second chance. You can say whatever you want, just don't be rude. And he went away, or she, it, whatever. So I've always wondered, who was that? Who was that troll? Was that somebody that has a stake in the game, some skin in the game? I always assumed that they probably did and that they were just doing the rounds and trying to do damage control. But that was December 20th, and the incel theory was well formed by then. I'd never heard of an incel until this case. And by then, I knew very well what it was, what this person was talking about. And then when they arrested Koberger, they tried to pigeonhole him into that. So, straight up, there's no incel on planet Earth that is going to join Margaret Atwood at anything. Not happening. And also, we've heard more and more that there was a woman of Asian descent that Koberger frequented his apartment with, right? So, anyway, debunking the possibility that he was an incel, there's so many things that make him look guilty as sin. And then there's so many things that make the prosecution's case look like it has 1,000 holes in it. So, what if it's both? What if he is guilty of something? And what if the prosecution's case does have holes in it? That's the way real life is. Chances are it's both. Before we wrap up, so I wanted to talk a little bit more. I made a few community posts, and one of them I quoted that song. Who is it? I thought it was Devo. The Vapors. No sex, no drugs, no wine, no women, no fun, no sin, no you, no wonder it's dark. So the fact that law enforcement and the media have been trying to make this case completely devoid of substances and sex leads me to believe that that is what's behind. I mean, these people are so freaking attractive. They're like Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie ranking, in my humble opinion. And this is going to sound really sick, so please, trigger warning, trigger alert. There's not a perp in the world that's going to let an opportunity like that pass them by. I'm just I'm not going to say anything else about that because I'm sorry, I feel kind of bad saying it, but trying to get to the truth here. Um, what else? I wanted to mention about Chief Fry saying that the Moscow Police Department had like somewhere in the vicinity of 100 years experience, all their officers combined. So why did they choose somebody with 2 years experience to be the lead on the case, especially if he couldn't get there for 4 hours from the time the 911 call came in? And that brings to mind that freaking 911 call, you guys. It's absurd that that has still been kept secretive. That needs to be released. That 911 call must have something damning in it that law enforcement does not want us to hear. Also, shout out to T Rev. I love his channel. I saw a post that he did where he was saying that, it can take um, the higher bodies of authority of law enforcement months to years to complete these investigations and reports in relationship to the Kopaka incident. And that Kopaka incident was 6 months ago. And it is very unusual for those investigations and reports to take more than 3 months in my knowledge and experience. And I do have a fair amount of knowledge and experience with that. So 3 months is sort of like the outer limit of what's normal. I mean, there's always exceptions to the rule, but just because they say in their statute that they can take years to do it, it doesn't mean that that's professional or ethical or okay, really. I mean, the other thing, in case you don't know, if they break their policy and their due process and procedure, they can rewrite their policy so that it's they didn't break it anymore. They can rewrite it retroactively if need be. So anyway, something to keep in mind, all right? A shock phase, 8 hours long. 8 hours long. So Frozen. Is there a possibility that some of the victims, one or more of the victims, could have been deceased earlier and then frozen? Again, trigger warning. And then thawed out. And so they had to let the 12 hours, 13 hours elapse before they had anyone looking into anything because they couldn't have evidence that somebody had been frozen. I don't know. I just thought of it over the weekend, you guys. Like that whole frozen shock phase. I mean, there was that question in the Kylie Rodney case, too. And there was a slip up by a certain individual with the initials MC when she said something about frozen, having been frozen. She was referring to Kylie Rodney. I don't know if you guys caught that. It's in one of her interviews, and I think Squirrels on Fire probably highlighted it recently and brought it to the forefront of my mind. Huge shout out to Squirrels on Fire. So she sent me screenshots of page 118 of The Handmaid's Tale. And I'm telling you, you guys, I'll put it up in a community post. It's grisly. It's grisly. I'm not saying that I think that the book that they took into evidence when they arrested Koberger is The Handmaid's Tale, but what if? What if? I think it's more likely that it was a Goosebumps novel as a Crime Circus thought up. Crime Circus just did a new video today. I'm going to put a link to that in my description too because I think extremely highly of Crime Circus. So I'm going to say peace out, sending you light and love. I hope you have a great day. I hope you had a really good weekend. Oh, it's been a busy one for me. I got to share that one of my kids got engaged over the weekend. All right. I mean, I'm thrilled for them that they're in love and all that, but it's a first for me as a parent. And it's a big deal. I mean, it's exciting, but it's a little cray cray, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. So take care of yourself, get your exercise, eat right, high protein, lots of vegetables, And what else? Get your rest, be kind, be thoughtful, be forgiving, and just be yourself. That is the most important thing we can do every day. Just be you. Don't just do something. Sit there. Just be you. You're enough. All right. Peace out, you guys. Sending you light, sending you love. See you on the next one.